Greetings, Exalted Ones, and hello, HitPoint friends. Andrew here. I have a tier ranking for us since Jeremy last time did his MCU ratings. You can go and see that. It should be popping up here somewhere in the corner. Go watch that if you want to. He ranks all the MCU movies. Today, I am ranking the Star Wars movies because Star Wars is my favorite series, so I figured I'd give this a shot. Couple ground rules before we get started. We're really only covering all the movies that came out in theaters. So that means the originals, the prequels, the sequels, and the spin-offs that have come out from the Disney era. This is largely because the guy who made the tier list did not include any of the TV shows or anything like that. And I don't know how to add them, so I'm not going to bother doing that. But if we all search our feelings, we know that Caravan of Courage and the other Ewok movie would be winning this hands down. This is quickly just turning into a low-rent Jenny Nicholson video. I don't think that was a good recording. All right, let's rank these guys. We're gonna go in theatrical release order, no machete order, no chronological order, just the order in which they're released. So let's start with A New Hope. A New Hope, it is the one that started it all. It set the tone and the trajectory for the whole series. It's a classic science fantasy romp. This one is going right into the S tier. Empire Strikes Back, it's the rare sequel that manages to outdo the original, which is a classic in its own right. It has a beautiful soundtrack. The ending duel between Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker is incredible. It's very tense. I love what it does with the Force. It makes everything a little bit darker, a little bit murkier. It's a wonderful movie. This one's also going into the S tier. Return of the Jedi, it's a triumphant finale, though admittedly the weakest of the original trilogy. It holds a special place in my heart, though. It's my favorite in the saga. I love Luke's green lightsaber. I love Vader's redemption arc. I love the final duel and the music. Oh, it's just amazing. This one is also going into the S tier. Okay, as we get into the next section, we're going to be talking about the prequels now. I've got my costume change on here, so let's get talking about the prequels, the controversial prequel trilogy. All right, The Phantom Menace. It has a nonsensical plot, no clear protagonist, a horrendous array of performances from otherwise very talented actors, a very stellar cast, but really a whole letdown of performances. This one's going to go into the S tier. Attack of the Clones. Until The Last Jedi came out, this was the longest Star Wars movie, and it absolutely felt like it. There are a few good fight scenes, but not enough to really make this a good movie. This one's going into the S tier. Revenge of the Sith. Best of the prequels by far, though that is absolutely not saying a whole lot, though the last half hour of the movie is very good in its own right. We're gonna put this one into the S tier. Side note, it's also a pretty good rundown of how a democracy turns into an empire, so extra points for that, I guess. Okay, we're getting another costume change going on here, but we're going to be talking about the sequel trilogy, which is very controversial in its own right as well. There's almost no controversial Star Wars opinions that we will not touch. We're going to be talking about these. Let's get them ranked. We're going to do not just the sequel movies, but also all the movies from the Disney era. Let's talk about them. The Force Awakens, it's a soft reboot for the franchise. The bones are identical to A New Hope, but that's okay for me. The connective tissue is good enough and stands enough on its own that I don't really mind too much. I think it's an excellent movie. It's certainly a good movie for sure. We're going to put this one into the S tier. Rogue One, it's the prequel that none of us asked for, yet all of us enjoyed. Let's put this guy into the S tier. The Last Jedi, it is easily the best of the new series of movies from Disney. It's the only one that really had anything new to say about Star Wars and about how to move the series forward. I absolutely loved it. I loved Rose. Do not at me. This one's gonna go into the S tier. Solo, it's the prequel that nobody asked for, S tier. Rise of Skywalker. This is the only Star Wars movie that actively made me mad. It was a pretty big disappointment to see it in the theaters. I don't really like what they did with any of the characters, but it's Star Wars, so let's put this one in the S tier. Okay, well, we have now ranked all the Star Wars movies, and as you can see, they have all ended in the S tier, and that's because S is for Star Wars, and Star Wars is awesome. Send tweet, Alexa.